Hello teachers, and welcome to this eJoy video on 6 must-dos for a successful trial class and regular class. Now we as teachers, we always constantly want to be improving our art of teaching. I know I personally have a lot of things that I need to work on. I have some students that are doing really good and then some students that are really struggling. So in this video, we're gonna go over 6 points that can really help us improve. Number 1, enthusiasm. Number 2, effective warm-up. Number 3, visual aids. Number 4, use of CLASSIN functions. Number 5, good time management. And number 6, an effective ending. Okay, so let's dive right in. Let's talk about enthusiasm. Now, this may seem like an obvious point, but the reality is that sometimes without even realizing it, we can start to lose our enthusiasm. Maybe we always use the same warm-ups, we always use the same games, activities, or exercises, and we can start to do things in a mechanical way. The truth is, enthusiasm is contagious. So if you lose your enthusiasm, your student will also lose it. And if you're excited for your lesson, your student will also be excited. It's contagious.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the Anyone? The Great Depression, raised tariffs. Anyone seen this before?
What was wrong with his teaching? Well, he didn't change his voice. He just spoke in a monotone way. Now, we need to change our voice. We have to use modulation. And this is especially important for younger learners. If you're excited about your teaching, your students will feel it too.
3 minus 4 is...
-1.
That's right. And 6 times a billion is...
6 billion?
Nailed it. And 54 is a 45 more than what is the answer, Marta?
9.
Well, we can't all have Jack Black's energy. But the point is that he was passionate about what he was teaching, and this really rubbed off on the students. It really drew them in. So we can show enthusiasm by changing our voice, making crazy gestures, maybe even making funny voices like this, or just changing our tone of voice. But what if we feel like we're really losing our enthusiasm? Well, don't get discouraged because this happens to all of us. First of all, try to change things up. Try new props, try new warm-ups, try new games. Ask other teachers what they do. Another thing that can help us improve our enthusiasm is remembering why you became a teacher, what you love about it, and also think about how your teaching, how your lessons can have an impact on the students' lives. You can also record yourself teaching a slide or two and see in what areas you can improve, or you can even maybe ask permission to watch a video of one of your lessons and think, where can I improve? As I mentioned, enthusiasm is contagious, and that's why it is number 1 on the must-do list. Okay, so let's now move on to number 2, effective warm-up. Now, as I mentioned, sometimes we can get stuck doing the same warm-up over and over again. Why is this bad? Well, A, you're gonna get bored, and B, the student is gonna get bored too. So really try to change it up. Get some ideas from YouTube, get some ideas from other teachers. I recently found out that my students, for warm-ups, they like to play tic-tac-toe and hangman, and that's something new for me. Go outside your comfort zone and you'll find it super rewarding for you and your student. Now, for younger learners, there are tons of warm-up songs that you can find online, on YouTube. I personally have found that some of my favorite users on YouTube for children's songs are Pink Fawn, Fun Kids English, and Super Simple Songs. Now, for older students, you can download free PPTs such as the Name What You See game, which is really cool. It's basically where the student has to combine 2 images to make 1 word. For example, what's this word? Sun. And what's that word? Glasses. Okay, so it makes, ta-da, sunglasses. And you can set the timer to make it more challenging and fun for your student. Now, a lot of the warm-ups I have created myself, or mostly I've learned from other teachers, so please go ahead and ask your fellow teachers here at eJoy or look up videos online on YouTube. Now, for more details on giving an effective warm-up, please go ahead and watch the video, How to Give a Meaningful Warm-Up and Preview on the eJoy webpage. Okay, so let's move on to point number 3, use of visual aids. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind and check in your CLASSIN camera before you log into class is your background and your lighting. Is your background really cluttered? Is there a lot of things going on back there? Is it too dark? Can you even see your facial features? Really make sure that you're clear, that your student can really see you well, your lighting is good, get a lamp if possible. And if you have a wallpaper, that is awesome. Use a backdrop. Put some fun things back there, but don't make it too noisy. Having a nice background or good lighting already sets the mood for a good, enjoyable class. Visual aids, of course, include TPR, use of props, and use of images. Visual aids are a must. Research has estimated that 75% of our learning is dependent on sight. This is true because if we just spoke words to a student without pointing or directing to an image or an object, they would have no idea what we're saying.
I'm Detective Carter. Do you speak any English? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
And that is where TPR comes in. TPR stands for Total Physical Response. And we use TPR to help a student remember a word by repeating it orally and then doing the actual action. And this is so great, especially when you're teaching your student verbs like I like swimming, swim, swim, swim. Get your student moving and repeating the action. This is TPR and it's super effective. And it helps them understand things that they wouldn't be able to understand otherwise, especially if it's a new vocabulary word for them. TPR also helps the student know what you expect of them. For example, if you cup your ears like this, like, how are you? Good. By cupping my ear, I am showing my student that I am listening and expecting an answer. And also you can use TPR for commands like stand up or sit down. TPR is a must for younger learners because you need to get them involved, you need to get them moving around. They have so much energy. Okay, well, what about props? Well, props have lots of uses. For example, you can use a prop to reward a student like, oh, good job. Or you can even use a prop to get the attention of a distracted student like, hey, what are you doing? Or you can use props to teach vocabulary like, what are these? Yes, ears. What's this? Yes, nose. Maybe you don't have a lot of props or things at your disposal at the time, but just get creative. Use things you already have around the house. Like I have a set of colorful pens to discuss vocabulary on colors in English, books, cups, etc. And you'll soon find that your student also wants to show you things that they have, maybe toys and other fun things that they have lying around. Now, another help is the CLASSIN Blackboard. You can use it to help them explain a vocabulary word that maybe they don't understand. You can draw pictures, import images, or even have the student draw things themselves. So really try to use your options. Now, if you would like to learn, for example, how to create games in CLASSIN or use other visual aids, then I recommend that you watch the video, How to Create a Visually Engaging Class Environment. Now, if you would like more tips and tricks on how to use TPR, then go ahead and watch the video on how to use TPR in the classroom. All young learners observe and learn things through sight, and that's why this point is so important. Okay, so let's move on to point number 4, use of CLASSIN functions. Now, since eJoy went back to doing their lessons in CLASSIN, I am positive that you guys have figured out a lot of the main features in CLASSIN and that you've had some pretty successful classes as of now. But there's some features that can actually help enhance your classes with this platform. So we're gonna look at 4 features. Number 1, the Blackboard Editor. Now this icon takes you to an empty classroom where you can easily review your class material, import images you want to use for that class, or create games or exercises for that particular student. I like to enter here and open up games I have already created and saved. I take a screenshot of some of my students' target language and paste it on top of my games. This personalizes the games for that particular student. I will also import images I know will be a visual aid for my student, and then I hit the save button and save the EDB file as the student's name and date of the class. Once your actual class begins, you can just open your saved EDB file and have everything ready. Now this Blackboard editor saves a lot of time so that when you log into your class, you're not wasting a bunch of time scrambling trying to put everything together. Number 2 are the game gadgets. Now this may seem like something small, but the game gadgets should not be overlooked. They're tools that can make your class more fun and engaging. For example, if you're practicing verbs with your student, you can assign them numbers and then roll the die. Whatever number it lands on, the student must say and act out the verb. You can even throw in a bomb and make it more fun. The point is that they have to hide from the bomb if they roll a 4 or a 6. And I sometimes like to create board games in CLASSIN also to serve as rewards. And the student can roll the die on their own. They love it. You can use the die for various games. Another tool I like to use is the timer. This timer is a great idea for several reasons. If you're doing a warm-up, which should not be more than 3 to 5 minutes, you can set the timer once you begin that game or the exercise to make sure you do not pass your limit. Number 3, share screen mode. Again, this is one that might be overlooked during the lesson, but trust me, it's a great aid for younger learners. Sometimes students don't understand a vocabulary word, so you can use this as a solution. I have also found that some of my younger students need to constantly be entertained or mentally stimulated. So I will log into Google Images and find them things that really capture their attention. So that's just one example of how we can use the share screen mode. Number 4 is the trophy button. During your lesson, a trophy icon will appear under your student's camera. This small button is a feature that must be used for class. Use it as a reward system for each time your student gives a correct answer. It's a great signal to help the students see that they did a great job, and it encourages them to continue to make an effort. So get familiar with those CLASSIN tools and continue figuring out creative ways that you can use them. Now, for more details on how you can use the CLASSIN platform or the basic features, you can watch the video, How to Use CLASSIN Platform to Teach eJoy English. Okay, let's move on to point number 5, good time management. This, of course, is very crucial for an important class. If you don't know how to manage your time, A, your student will get bored because they won't feel that the class is fluid. B, you will waste time on unnecessary parts. And 3, you will skip over or rush over parts that are really the core activities of that lesson. Time management is something we all struggle with. I know I personally have to constantly review it. But the key to time management is good preparation. So we're gonna go over quickly 3 points on how we can prepare ahead of time our classes and therefore have better time management. Number 1, read and analyze the material beforehand. In order for you to know how to distribute your time properly, you have to read it beforehand. You have to really think and ask yourself questions like, what is the target language in this lesson? What is the objective of this lesson? Is this part going to be too difficult for this particular student? How much time should I spend on this particular slide? How can I adapt this lesson to my student's level? These questions are so important to really know how to manage your time and cover all of the material. Now, if one of your lessons, such as, for example, Right Source or Wonders, is too long to be covered in a 30-minute lesson, then you have to find an appropriate stopping point for that particular lesson. Number 2 is to create a class guideline. Now, I personally have found this to be a great help. My class guideline looks something like this. I have it on hand so that I can quickly review what warm-up I will use, what homework I need to review, what games I will play, or what video I might show for that class. And having it on hand helps me to remember the key components I want to focus on right before I enter into the class. Number 3, organize your classes and students in CLASSIN. Again, with the Blackboard editor, you can create and modify the Blackboard specifically for that student's lesson. Save the file and open it just before the lesson starts. You'll have all the games you have created for that lesson, as well as imported images, exercises. You can upload or remove any videos you would like to share, or even organize your students by the days of the week. You can do this on your cloud disk. This will save you time during the actual lesson. Now, if you would like to find more ways to successfully manage your time in your classes, then I encourage you to watch the video, How to Successfully Manage Time in Class. All right, let's move on to our final point, an effective ending. Have you ever had a class where like 2 minutes before it's about to be over, you realize that you have another slide or two left, so you quickly rush through it and say, okay, so I hope you can do this for homework. All right, I'll see you next week. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Trust me, we've all been there, and this is an example of a bad ending, an effective ending. Okay, so what's a good example? How can we make a good ending? We should use the last minute or two to review maybe some of the vocabulary or target language that we learned in that lesson. Use the conclusion as an opportunity to praise your student for the good job that they did in that lesson, and tell them that you look forward to seeing them in your next class. Smile, have them laughing. Really try to end the class on a positive note. Very soon there will be a video on how to give an effective ending. So for more details, stay tuned and look out for this video. Well, teachers, that concludes our video on 6 must-dos for an effective lesson. I'm gonna apply what I learned today, and I'm gonna do a quick review. Our 6 points again were enthusiasm. Remember, it is contagious. Number 2, effective warm-up. Try to change it up. Don't use the same warm-ups over and over again. Number 3, use of visual aids. Really pay attention to your background, your lighting, and use props and TPR. Number 4, use of the CLASSIN functions. Get familiar with CLASSIN. Think of creative ways to use these tools. Number 5, good time management. This of course involves good preparation on your part. Number 6, an effective ending. We want to end things on a positive note and keep what they learned fresh in their mind. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video, and remember, we as teachers, we can all share our ideas with each other. I hope that these tips have really helped you guys out. Thank you so much for watching this video, and happy teaching!